you actually watched the film Captain Phillips whilst you were being held captive by Somali pirates, right?
So, yeah.
You, you must be the only person who's able to say that. Uh, what was that experience like?
Well, so first of all, maybe I'm not. There was still seafarers being held, and what happened was the pirates. I noticed one day that all my guards had new phones, so there was an influx of cash or something, and there was just new equipment, and some of them had fancy newer phones that were obviously loaded with new media. And one day, I was just lying on my mattress in the afternoon. The flies were buzzing, and there were a couple of guards in my room watching a movie very intently on one of these new phones. And I could hear the movie. I didn't recognize the movie. I was trying to imagine what kind of English language movie they would be so interested in that I didn't recognize. So, in other words, if it was going to be subtitled in Somali, it would have been an older film, and I was trying to place the film and I couldn't. Like, what are they watching? Because they were really interested. Like, damn, oh fuck, that's Tom Hanks. And then I knew they were watching Captain Phillips. And then it was like, well, why are they watching Captain Phillips? Everyone knows how that ends for the pirates,
Yeah.
you know. But of course, they were watching either because they knew people involved, or for like tips in case of a military raid, which were not forthcoming. But when after a week or two, one of the guards handed me that phone and said, "Michael, you know this movie? You want to watch it?" I said, "Yeah, okay, sure." Um, he said that he knew the one pirate who had been captured alive and then sent to trial and prison in New York. He said, "Oh yeah, Abdul Ali, he's a friend of mine."
Wow.
Uh, so in fact, they were clan brothers or something like that. He was from a slightly different clan, actually a very different clan. But anyway, that's one reason they were interested, is partly because they knew people or they were aware of people who were directly involved in that case, but also they were seeing pirates on the big screen, right? It's a Spielberg film. So, and when that guy gave me the phone to watch, it was the first time anyone handed me a phone outside of some sort of official phone call. And I was very aware of what I was holding in my hands, right? And it was another fly-blown afternoon, and he went to sit with his friend in the corner, and they watched me with their guns. But I'm like, well, how do I make a phone call?
Mm,
How do I do this without alarming them?
yeah.
And the first step was turning down the volume, and they caught on to that. So I didn't get.
So whilst they're watching this film, what are their reactions? Are they proud to be represented? Are they angry? What were you picking up from their reactions?
No, they were just fascinated.
Just
They were just watching very carefully. Yeah,
um,
just fascinated.
and have you been able to watch that movie since, or does that just sort of bring up too much for you to be able to watch a film like that?
No, it's fine. I mean, I only saw 45 minutes of it in a prison house, and then afterwards I watched the whole thing. I was impressed both times by the atmosphere that Spielberg got. They couldn't film it in Somalia, but it felt like Somalia. I think they filmed it in Morocco. So all that, all hail his set designer and costume designer, I suppose. All that was good. Then there was one scene that I saw while I was there, of some Somali pirates getting selected on the beach, right? So
Mm,
some guy goes and says, we need pirates for an operation, and you guys are poor boys from the town. Who wants to join us? And these guys raised their hands. And while I was sitting there, I'm like, I have never heard of that. Where did Spielberg get that? Who? Damn it, the research. And then it occurred to me, it's total bullshit. They would
yeah.
never do that in public. That's why, it took a minute of reflection, but he did that for dramatic purposes on his film. You don't do something that's visible on film, and so that little thing had to be selected. And I asked one of the pirates about it. I said, does that ever happen like that?" He's like,
Wow, what an unbelievable perspective to be able to have, man.